possible, we get started here. If you remember, please take your seat. Everybody have an agenda. Okay, before we get started, I'm going to ask for a motion to amend the agenda. Number one, we're going to have a prayer. Can I ask for a motion? I move. Need a second? Second. I hear a first and a second. Everyone in favor, say aye. 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 So item number one is going to be a prayer by Joyce Greer.
Good morning. I have a loud teacher voice, so we'll do it that way. I just feel this great need to bring God into this room.
Amen.
So, I have a great need, can you hear me now? To bring God into this room. So if you will pray with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for our many blessings, especially this great country and our freedoms. Please bless this meeting and the people in this room, and please help us to make wise decisions and to remember that we are all Republicans fighting for the same cause. Amen.
Amen. All right. Item number two is Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Microphone. Sorry, it's on now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If the secretary calls the roll, please.
Ed Ryder, Claudine Steinford, here. T.J. Kavanaugh, Mike Troyan, Craig Serna, Tom Medhurst, Stacy Westervelt, Rich Dobray, Courtney McIver, I'm sorry, she's not allowed on us, Matt Lynch, here. Scott Andrews, Robert Porter, here. Suzanne Bagley, here. Patricia Mitchell, Kevin Freeman, Wanda Myers, Sean Thompson, here. Jonathan Blasco, Daniel Maliski, here. Mary Bramstead, Andrew Blackley, Nancy MacArthur, here. Joan Windnagel, here. Maureen Cox, Aunt Agnes Eisler, Dorothy Stang, here. Jim McConnell, here. Dale Lanise, here. Kent Radke, here. Skip Claypool, here. Don Toth, Colleen Cavassini, Lisa Cavassini, here. Jan Studley, Mike Petrozzulo, here. Rob Allen, here. Greg Soltis, here. Paul Hederstrom, Joe Cattell, Blake Greer, here. Ed Kaminsky, here. Sherry Benoit, Sharon Seliskar, Jane Zimmerman, Don Paschke, Jonas Yoder, John Oros, Greg Combs, here. Frank Antonucci, here. Frank Leah, here. Debbie McNaughton, here. Jolene Carbucci, Ken Renfro, Bob Fanley, Ted Peterson, here. Ken Blair, Jody Swartwout, Christy Hall, here. Mary O'Toole, here. Kevin O'Reilly, here. Dennis Coyne, Kendall Smith, here. Kelsey Tarzi, here. Mark Porter, Tim Lennon, Linda O'Brien, here. Charles Butters, present. Joan DeRoss, Mary Zettelmeyer, James Klinger, Louis Allen, Jim Dorelia, Donna Matzik, here.
Sorry, I think someone came in late.
Yeah, PJ. PJ? Okay. Thanks, PJ. Executive Committee, Karen Swan, here. Cyril Tourette, here. Bridie Matheny, Sharon Gingrich, Tom Michael, Jess Smock, Tom Nolfi, Joanne Monaco, John Mallon, George Edgar, Michelle Lane, here. Bob Rogish, here. Bill Patterson, here. Clay Lawrence, Clay Montag, John Parks, Sue Stevenson,
Here.
Tom Petrone, Scott Hildebrand,
Here.
Denise Kaminsky,
Here.
Christian Klein, Jim McCaskey, Pam Ferris,
Here.
Aaron Brady,
Here.
Joanne Brady, John Eklund, Ralph Spitaleri, Bob Pullman, Dave Joyce, Jim Blaze,
Here.
Chris Hitchcock, Skip Lyle.
Here.
Another member just came in. Paul Henderson. Paul.
Good morning, sorry.
Now.
John Eklund.
All right.
All right.
He was absent.
Thank you.
Oh, sure, there he is.
Did everyone get a chance to read the minutes? We have some extra copies up here, but everyone should have gotten a copy via email. I need a motion to accept the minutes. I second. I hear a first and a second. Got that? Everyone in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Minutes are passed. Treasurer's report is going to be done by Kevin O'Reilly. We're going to do it on the overhand. Make it easy for everybody.
There wasn't a whole lot of activity since our meeting a month ago, so I just kind of did a P&L since that point. We had $100 come in as a donation from one of our members. We had 2 expenditures since that time: the rent, which was the $618.75, and then the insurance policy that we approved at our last meeting. So, the actual cash flow for the month was negative. The account balances are on this side are 3 different accounts. The general account, $3,622.62. That's our operation money. The restricted account, which is $784.81, which I have yet to have used any money out of that for anything. And the judicial account, which is a restricted only specifically to judicial endeavors for the judges. So those are our balances. I will comment, the restricted fund is currently being audited by it's an independent auditing firm that the Secretary of State contracts with. They have all our information. I haven't gotten a report back from them yet. But they are auditing our restricted account. I did just get the reports back this morning from the financial review that was done on our general account, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But that came back this morning to me, and I'll look that over and hopefully be able to comment on that at some point. But are there any questions, John?
When's the fair tent? When is that due? The money's due?
That's due by the end of the month, and we approved it at the last meeting, but I actually only got the paper bill in my hand this morning.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and send the check in, but it's due the end of the month.
Well, we did approve that at our last meeting. I think we approved $1,500. It's actually a little bit less than that. It'll be a little bit less because we now have an insurance policy, so we're going to deduct that amount from it. We're only required to spend $100, but we're going to go ahead and send the money because we want to make sure we keep our spot. Frank?
Move to approve the financial summary.
I hear movement. I need a second.
Second.
We're going to vote on this. Everyone in favor? Yes. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We are going to be discussing financial review a little bit later in events. So events update. I'll just tell you about our Lincoln Day dinner. We've secured our speaker. It's going to be co-chairman Sharon Day of the Republican National Committee, so it's a pretty big deal. It's going to be on April 11th, and the invitations are going out this weekend. So if you would like to serve on that committee, we need lots of help. We'll be doing it at Fowler's Mill Golf Course. Any questions on that? Nancy, what's the date? April 11th. It'll be in the evening. We'll have an opportunity to, we're having a pre-cocktail dinner to spend some one-on-one time with the co-chairman. And the dinner will probably start around 6:30. So look for that. And it's open to the public, so anyone can come. All right.
Nancy, anyone who is here today that would like to donate a basket for the Chinese auction, please see me before you leave. If you are an elected official, If you don't see me, I'll be calling you. Thank you.
I guarantee she will, too. Yeah, so we'll be doing a 50-50 and a basket raffle. It's just a little way for us to raise money for the party. Thank you, Karen. I'm going to have Jim McConnell, our chair of the golf outing. Jim, you want to give us an update on the golf outing?
Okay, if you don't mind, I'll just sit because I have a pretty loud voice, so it should carry. Like I talked about last time, the golf outing is June 5th. It's going to be at Legend Lakes. You can either play golf, which will be golf, heavy appetizers, and prizes, or you can come just for dinner as well. I talked with Mike over at the golf course, and they're actually going to give us the same price we did 5 years ago. So golf package is going to be $65. So that's food, that's beer and wine on the golf course, plus dinner, and dinner's going to be $40. So it's a pretty good rate. So anybody wants to help us with the committee, I'm more than, I'd like to get more people on it. At this point, we actually have Bob Voss on the committee, Jane Zimmerman, Mike Petrozzulo, and Carol Charlillo actually nominated her husband as well. Yeah. So try to get foursomes together. We need players. Is what we need. We're hoping for 100 players is what we're hoping.
Can you repeat that date again, Jim?
It is June 5th.
June 5th. It's a Friday.
Friday. It'll start at noon.
So mark your calendars, please.
Are you going to have flyers?
Yes.
We will, yeah. Just getting together. We're having a meeting next week and starting that process. It's kind of let Lincoln Day go first, and then we'll work on the other issues.
All right, so item C is website and communications. It's the website update is always very tedious, so we are trying to make some improvements there, and so we continue to work on that. So very soon you'll see some updates to that as well as communications. And Scott Kaiser, Christian Klein, and a few other people are working on that together. So just be patient with us, folks. We're going to get that all up and running. You can contact the Republican Party through our Contact Us site on the website. So those emails come to me, and we respond to anyone who responds to us. So that phone number on the website still is not a good working number, so I would contact myself or one of the officers if you need to get in touch with us. Thank you. Okay, the Financial Review Committee, our chairman is Jeff Smock. Jeff is on our executive committee. He is the prior finance director for the city of Chardon, and he is on city council with me. He has quite a bit of experience in this field, and we have a committee set for that purpose. We did just get back findings from Mike Bolus, and we will be setting a meeting very soon to discuss those findings, and we will, once they come on a committee, they'll be presented to this body. So just to keep you apprised of that. We really don't have anything further to announce on that at this time. And Bylaws Committee, unfortunately, Mark Porter was not able to be here today. We did meet about a month ago. It was on a very blizzardy, snowy day, and we're just getting started. We do have a meeting set within the next few weeks, and Mr. McConnell and I are on that committee, and we'll keep you apprised as we're moving along. If there's something that you would like to see added to that, please feel free to contact myself or Mark, and we will address those things at our next meeting. All right, hold it just a minute. I do want to address a few things. Based on our meetings, I know everybody wants to get in and out of here as quickly as possible. We're here to conduct the business of our party. So just to get things clear, I want to make sure that you understand about how to make a motion and what we're doing when we're speaking. If you want to make a motion or speak in debate, I'm asking that you stand up and address myself, Madam Chairman. And then you will be recognized by the chairman and you will have the floor. When you're finished making a motion or debating, you would then sit down and you would yield the floor to someone else possibly. A motion has to be seconded, we know that. I will then state the question so that it's moved in second so everyone understands exactly what the motion is. And then that motion would be pending and is before the group for debate and action. And the maker of the motion is the first person who has the right to speak. So if you would also address each other as members when you're acknowledged as a speaker, I'm going to ask you to state your name so everyone knows who's speaking. And then in addition, I would ask that members try to work harmoniously with other members, even if they don't agree with them. If we respect the fact that the majority rules and cheerfully carry out the membership's wishes, I think we'll be better served.
I'm going to ask that you be fair and courteous in meetings, respecting the rights of others, especially in debate. Members should call out a point of order only when a serious breach of the rules has taken place. Members should listen attentively and courteously to other members and wait in turn to speak. And I'm going to ask that you make sure that your cell phone is turned off and down and that you aren't texting or emailing people during our meeting. When the bylaws or other rules of the organization are not being followed, or when members' rights are being taken away in a meeting, members have a responsibility to courteously call the violation to the attention of the membership. And as you can see, we have a new person sitting up here today. This is our executive committee member, Joanne Brady. I've asked her to be our parliamentarian, so if there's any question as to the rule or our bylaws, she will be able to address that. Okay, thank you. We're also going to now move on to item number, I think it's actually 7 now, on the platform. And Donna Matzik, who is our chair, is going to do a presentation for us.
Thank you, Nancy. After that introduction, I'm going to have the most attentive audience I've ever had. So before we actually talk about the platform, I want to go back 6 months and kind of say where were we and why we did this and how we did this. Okay. Anyway, some of the things aren't showing up. Okay, that's all right. Okay, so 6 months ago, where were we? The GOP on every level really was very divided. There's bipartisanship. We understand that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. But then within our own party, there was so much division. We felt that we were focusing on the things we didn't agree on instead of focusing on the things that we do have in common. On the outside, externally looking in at our party, we were the party of no. We were the party of the things we were against and not the things we were for. So we thought, what could we do to change this? These 7 statements are the purpose of our platform. When you've seen our platform, they're familiar to you. They are actually in the document. They can be kind of grouped into 3 things. The first one is the most important, is to unify ourselves as a party. The next group is really that after we unify ourselves and we are a single entity, focus and know what we do, have clarity of vision, then we will do better externally. We will have better outreach, marketing. We'll be more attractive to other people, the undecided group that we are targeting and focused on. And then the last 2 are saying, once we're there, we're going to get the best candidates we can get. And when we have these candidates, our voice will be heard at the local and the national level. So that's what we thought could be done. So how are we going to do it? So in order to get this done, we needed to have a committee. So Nancy formed the platform committee. On that committee was Nancy, myself, Sean Thompson, Rich Dobre, Jane, Jim, and Kevin. When we got together, the very first thing we decided was this could not be a platform of the 7 of us. It had to be a voice of all of you. So how are we going to do that? So back in September, we came to you and said, okay, what are the things that are the most important to you? We can't possibly put in every topic in this document, but we wanted to ensure that what got into this document were the topics that were most important to you. So we did a survey here at the meeting, and Jane sent out surveys later to get responses of the things that were the most critical issues to you. Once we gathered that information, there's Jim, sorry. Jim. Okay. So anyway, once we got those issues, we created statements. Then we created an online survey. Again, we came back to you and said, okay, there's a survey that we'd like you to participate in. On those questions, you are going to say whether you strongly agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree. So we sent out 90 surveys. We got over 50 back. That's a really exceptional percentage. 60% answered. That's really very good for a survey. So there we were. These show you kind of, the red is you. You selected the key topics. You completed the surveys. All we did then was to consolidate those findings. And then today we are presenting them to you. This is disappointing. The diagrams aren't there. But anyway, So this will surprise none of you. Our key findings are that we are a very diverse group. So anyway, even within, not talking about the Republican Party or anyway, just with our own immediate group, there's such a diversity of extreme views. So here was the pyramid. And so on the base of the pyramid, I'll show you taxation. This is one of the topics that you said was important to you. And a very simple question. The tax system should be simple, transparent, flat, and fair. 98% of you strongly agree with that statement. But then if you look below that, peel the onion back a little bit and say, okay, what does fair or simple mean? We'll say, okay, maybe tax consumption versus production would go down to 60%. Let's say we agree with that. Then we say the tax system should be used to promote social policy. Only 25% agree with that statement. The next two I really like. No tax increase is ever acceptable. 21% agree with that statement. Then we say taxes should be increased if we need to balance the budget. Again, 20% agree with that. So you've got such a diversity. So we thought, okay, how are we going to accommodate all these views and get that unity that we're looking for? So we said, well, in order to make this work, we really have to stick with those high-level, timeless principles that we all agree on. And so when you look through this platform, it's not going to be as detailed as some of you might like, but that was the whole point, because we do want a document that unifies all of us. So anyway, as a result, we have 6 sections in our platform. Here they are: individual rights, limited government, strong family American values, free market economy, educational excellence, and good government. I think these are all principles that we can agree on. And so that's basically what we have. And I think all of you should have had a platform and had time to review it. But if not, we do have copies here today. And we are going to have some time I'd like to have time to discuss it. So are there any questions about the process that we went through to get this document?
No questions about the process?
Go ahead. Yes, Linda?
Did your recommendations follow the majority vote on the topics?
Yes. So, absolutely.
So we can support that 100% across the board?
And that was our final check on every sentence written. And our final meeting together, we had all of our survey results. And if somebody would say something in a document that said no tax increase is ever acceptable, we'd say, no, we can't write that. Only 20% of this group agrees with that statement. And it would be X'd out.
Thank you.
So that was absolutely our last check in the process. Okay, if there's no other questions?
No other questions on the process? On the process. All right. In order to be able to discuss this, I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the recommendations from the committee.
So moved. My second.
Recommendations by the committee for the platform, and in order to discuss it, we need to have a motion on the floor, which we just did. All right, so I'm going to ask for a show of hands if you're in favor of accepting this motion so that we can further discuss it. Raise your hand.
Madam Chairman?
Yes?
Because we have a mixed group of people in the audience, which some are voting members, others are spectators, I would request that any voting or polling that's done, as cumbersome as it is done by a roll call vote. Otherwise,
all right.
we have no assurance that my cousin Bill isn't voting.
Well, I think we can look by show of hands and we can see who that is. And there are a couple of people, I believe Mr. Eklund, Ms. Brady, and Mr. Hitterstrom, who are sitting in the back. If I would ask you to please move forward. Anyone in the public would be sitting in the back. Mr. McConnell, please move forward. Anyone else who is a voting member, I'm going to ask you to move forward. Because we're probably going to be taking some more votes.
Madam Chair,
Central and Executive Committee, that's correct. That would be you, Karen.
that was my question.
Yeah, anybody who's in the public who's going to be sitting in the back, everybody else is going to be forward. Thank you. If you want to address me, you need to stand and address me properly?
Madam Chairman,
Yes. Wait a minute. You have the floor. Thank you.
I'm Linda O'Brien, and I ask for you to clarify if the executive committee can vote on these matters or not. They're part of the service.
Per our bylaws, yes, they can.
Thank you. I yield.
Is everyone ready to vote? Ms. Branstad came in late. Jane, can you make notes? If you're a voting member, you need to take your seat, please.
I apologize, I don't understand. You said voting on the recommendations. Are we voting on approving the process or recommendation? What are the recommendations? Not certain I understand.
Well, you have a copy of the platform.
Right.
Okay, so that's what the committee has recommended to this body to consider.
Recommended to adopt the platform.
That's correct. And then we'll have discussion after we get this motion passed.
No. Point of order.
Mary O'Toole, I think we have to discuss it first, then vote on it, if I'm not mistaken. You don't take the final vote until after the discussion, but you need the motion to have the discussion, I believe.
That's fine. So we can do that. We are discussing it. We're not actually voting on accepting it. Does everybody understand that? So, but who made the motion? Who originally made the motion? Claudine? To discuss it. Okay. And who made the second?
I did.
All right. So we can discuss a motion and amend it while we're discussing it.
Right.
That was my preference because I think it will move everything along more smoothly.
Correct.
Nancy, Mr. Chairman, can I ask that Jane actually read the motion as it is written now? That way we should all be clear.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm supposed to do that.
Okay, well, whoever's going to read the motion.
And I can do that. We're getting hung up on discussion, and it's not my intent to not have discussion or the ability to amend the platform as it stands from committee.
I get a sense that there's misunderstanding as to actually what the motion is.
Right. Exactly. Well, we can accept the platform as recommended by committee, and we can accept that, and then we can debate it, and then we can make amendments to it. That would be my preference because I think it will move this process a lot smoother.
I think we're going to, Charlie Butters, we're going to accept the motion or accept the platform, and then we'll vote to adopt. Is that what you're saying? Right now,
we're going to discuss it first.
Yeah, so you don't need a motion to do that. You know, you have a motion to accept it, and then we discuss it, and then you vote. That's what everybody says.
Okay, we can do that. That's fine, and I believe that's what the motion was. The members, Claudine Steinford made that motion to discuss the motion.
Not to accept.
All right, that's fine. And the second was made. So do we have a show of hands to accept the motion to discuss the platform as presented by the committee? Yes. Those in opposition? So simple. The motion passes. All right. Okay. State your name, please.
My name is Debbie McNaughton, Madam Chairman. I would like to make a motion to move this along that speakers are limited to 4 minutes and that our discussion does not exceed 45 minutes.
Okay, so Member McNaughton has made a motion to limit individual discussion to 4 minutes per person. Is that correct?
4 minutes per person.
And for 45 minutes total for this specific topic. Do I have
Madam Chair, point of order. You cannot have two motions on the floor at the same time. Check with the parliamentarian.
I believe that is not.
We voted on that. We just voted on that.
That motion is passed.
We have to have discussion on that motion.
Well, we will have discussion, but she's making a motion about the discussion. I'll defer to our parliamentarian if there's a question about that. Point of order is only for something egregious that's happening, and if we all agree that we want to do that, we can do that. All right, let's take Mr. Radke.
I would suggest that it be two motions, one for 4 minutes and one for the 45 minutes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that, Madam Chairman, that the speakers be limited to 4 minutes per person.
Do I have a second? Second. Everyone in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion passes.
Madam Chairman, I would like to make a motion that our discussion not exceed 45 minutes under the discussion portion of the platform that we're looking at.
Do I have a second? So the motion is to limit the entire topic discussion to 45 minutes. It's been motioned and seconded. Do I have all of those in favor, please raise your hand. Do we need to count, Jane? Please keep your hand raised. Those opposed? The motion passes. All right, so we are open for discussion at this time. It is now 10:10. So at 10:50, we will end discussion. Sorry, 10:55. Sorry. All right. We're open for discussion. Does anyone want to address the platform?
Ted Peterson. Madam Chairman, may I speak?
Yes.
I'd like to say this is a fantastic opportunity for us to do what we've needed to do for some time. It's obvious you put a lot of work into this, you put a lot of time in this. Those of you who participated, either hands-on or by submitting your opinion via email or some other source. I think this is very well written. I'm quite impressed. I'm actually proud to be a part of the Republican Party if it stands for these principles. Thank you.
Thank you. You may stand and address.
Thank you, Madam.
Please state your name.
Matt Lynch. I wanted to address what I consider the most important part of the platform, which is the life claim, which is found on page 3.
Mr. Lynch, hold it just a minute. We were supposed to have a live mic somewhere. Is Mr. Allen in the room? Did we have that? I'm not sure if everyone can hear, but I want to make sure everyone can hear all the different.
Well, I can just do this one.
That's fine.
Or maybe not.
All right, so we are limiting to 4 minutes.
Has my 4 minutes started yet? Okay, so I'll be very brief. The original platform that was put out a couple of months ago, for those of you that may or may not have it, was reduced a bit from what's before us today. Currently, the proposal today says we believe that the right to life extends to the unborn and to end-of-life matters, and presumably we would all agree with that. The previous version had an additional phrase immediately following that language that said, and thusly precludes the termination of that life. In other words, the previous language actually affirmatively stated that we as a group supported or opposed the termination of life. So I would like to make a motion we add that language back in.
Are you asking for a motion for amendment, or you need to state exactly what you're asking?
Yeah, I move that we add to the sanctity and dignity of life portion on page 3. Just the addition of the following words, and again these are taken from the previous version, and thusly precludes the termination of that life.
Wait a minute. We're using the current version, so I need all the wording to be exact. So you're taking it from the previous version?
No. My motion is to add it. That's all. That's where language came from. But,
okay, well, I just need to make sure we have it written down.
Yeah, and thusly precludes the termination of that life. So the amended version, if you accept this amendment, would be: we believe that the right to life extends to the unborn and to end-of-life matters, comma, and thusly precludes the termination of that life. So it's just 6 or 8 words there.
I second that motion.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor.
Thank you.
This is on page 3 under section Sanctity, well, it's under the section Individual Rights and Responsibilities on page 3 under the subtitle of Sanctity and Dignity of Life to be amended to read, we believe that right to life extends to the unborn and to end-of-life matters, and thusly precludes the termination of that life, period. It's been first and seconded. Is there any discussion? Discussion, please stand.
Denise Kaminsky. I think if you are trying to welcome more people into the Republican Party, you may exclude some people by using that phrase. There are many circumstances, and I'm not here to debate the abortion issue, but I can tell you, when you have never walked in another person's shoes, it's very easy to make that statement. You don't know what the current circumstances could be, and I believe that if you add that statement, you may be sending some people away. They will not join the Republican Party. I think your phrase is very good as it stands, but I think to add additional language would really preclude, because, like I said, there are many circumstances where someone may have an issue that no one else in this room could possibly understand.
Could you give us an example of what you mean?
Yes, I can. My son and daughter-in-law, for instance, they had, my daughter-in-law was pregnant at one point quite a few years ago, and she was losing her amniotic fluid. The baby makes its own sac, and unfortunately this fluid was constantly leaking out. Your body makes more fluid, and the baby was just alive in that fluid. The doctors recommended that the baby be aborted. Every physician she went to recommended that baby be aborted because it would have been a very, very painful situation as time went on. For my daughter-in-law, for the child, and the child would have had to have been delivered very, very soon. The child was definitely going to die. There wasn't any question that the child would not be living. And every doctor recommended that the child be aborted at that point.
Thank you. If you wish to speak, please stand and ask for recognition.
Madam Chairman, I move that added words remain, and I can tell you that I have walked in those shoes personally. I can tell you of a family right now in Russell Township that every doctor told them to abort their unborn child because it would not have a quality of life. And that child today is walking this earth without one issue. So doctors are not God. God is God. And I do not believe in lowering our standards for the convenience of others to join our party. If we lower our standards, we don't have lower standards. We have no standards. We need to know what our standards are.
Thank you. The floor is yours.
Mary O'Toole. I'm just a point of information to the committee. Now, you removed those words. Why were those words taken out? May I ask? What happened with that? I mean, did you go by your surveys? I'm just looking for information as to what transpired.
In this case, the surveys weren't specific enough, and we could see that it was causing controversy, so we went back to our high-level timeless principles that the people could agree on. So I think in this case, the survey probably wasn't detailed enough, and so we really had to stick with the very high-level detailed question in the survey. So, very good. Thank you.
Well, and I will make a statement that not only did we give people the opportunity to contact the committee through the survey, we had each individual author of the various sections be contacted, and so those numbers also went into that final recommendation by the committee. You need to stand and ask for recognition.
Madam Chairman,
Member Tarsi.
Elsie Tarsi, Precinct 2, South Russell. I just wanted to state that I agree with Linda O'Brien. I think the first thing we need to do is show that we are a Republican Party that supports life. And this does not really support life. And I have not been in that situation, but I have worked with many, many children that have special needs. And I know 90% of Down syndrome children are aborted. And I find that that's a very appalling statistic. And I've worked with these children, and they have every right to life as anyone else. And I find that if we don't support life, who will? I mean, because it's a slippery slope. After you say, well, this one doesn't deserve life, who's next? I really think as a Republican Party, and we have the heartbeat bill in the state of Ohio right now, that we really need to be specific on how we feel. And I don't believe that this platform, as written without the words that Matt Lynch proposed, does that. Thank you. I yield the floor.
The chair recognizes.
Ken Randy. I think a very important, we all value life, and a very important part of the party is to bring people in. And if we can bring people in and then change minds and change hearts and change minds, I think that's important. So it's, well, if you want to change minds and hearts, and you have to do that by getting them into the party.
Thank you. So for those who haven't yet had a chance to speak, I'm going to allow them to speak first. I see a hand up. Member Latourette.
I just want to say, last time, I guess my point was much of what's been mentioned so far, but I don't think we need to be too specific and turn people away. But I just want to say I actually agree with the addition of this wording, and I would be very comfortable seeing it added.
Member Hederstrom.
Paul Hederstrom. I'm new to this, new to the whole thing, but what I would like to see and what I have problems with this, and I did in the old one, was I'm afraid of it being a legislation issue, and I don't think legislation is the place for that. If we're the Republican Party and we want the government to stay out of this stuff, then Mr. Radke is right on, is we need to be open for acceptance of people and those kind of things, and it's a community issue, not a legislation issue. So that's why I totally support the way it's written right now.
I saw some other hands. I see Karen Swan in the back. She is an executive committee member. I'm not going to ask her to come to the front. Everyone can hear her. Go ahead.
I have a big mouth. Karen Swan, and first of all, I would like to thank Denise for sharing with us something that I know has to be very uncomfortable to share. I would also like to thank the committee for adding end-of-life issues, which I talked to some folks about. And what I'd like to say is, as a party, I've been hearing, and I believe that we need to support parents in making the correct decision for their children through the entire continuum. So I support parents that they know what the right decision for their unborn child is. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Bramstad, you're recognized.
Madam Chairman, Mary Bramstad, thank you. Thank you for everybody coming. This is democracy in action, and that's terrific. And a lot of work has been put into this, and we appreciate all of you being here. Many have heard my story. I weighed 2 pounds and 12 ounces many, many years ago. I went down to 2.9. I was supposed to die. I was given last rites. My mother was dying, and they forced the delivery because she went into eclampsia. She had convulsions, blindness. It was really pretty pathetic for both of us. But fortunately, I had a doctor who wanted me to have that chance of maybe making it. And as you can see, I gained an awful lot of weight. I didn't talk till I was 4 years old. I made that at an announcement at a tennis conference in Milwaukee once, and I said, as you can see, I haven't stopped talking since. And God bless me every day with the bonus of being on this earth. I'm an athlete, tennis player, I was, and I do have some mental acumen, I hope. But so I'm blessed with that because a lot of babies don't have that opportunity once they're born if they're extreme preemies. But that has motivated my whole life to be enthusiastic, energetic, and love life. And I bless my Lord every day for that. And the older I get, the more I bless Him. because he gives me blessings every day, as I've said. My point is that I certainly agree with the amendment to put this back on. We are a party of the people who believe in life, from conception to the end of life. God knows, if you believe in God, which I hope all the Republican Party does, that we would embrace this simply because that is our mantra. That is one of the moral standards of the Constitution. If you go back to the founding fathers, and you know they read Greek, they read Latin, they knew philosophy of the great men of the past in Greece, for example, so that would be the case. So Denise, I've known for many decades, and I respect her dearly, and I know these personal situations occur. But my mantra has been this simply because I'm a living testament of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please stand. State your name.
Yes, my name is Kendall Smith, and I recognize that the issue of abortion is a very divisive one, and we often have background experiences that affect our opinions on it. I have some stories like that I can tell also. But I am very uncomfortable with this notion that anything that might be a divisive issue should be excised from our platform and we should not take a stand on it. I feel it's much more appropriate to spell out what our beliefs are, encourage debate about it, and be clear about that we in fact do have beliefs and principles in life. So I'm very supportive of this amendment and am concerned that people will be offended by that and not join the party. That's of course a consideration, but it is much more important to clearly say what our beliefs are.
Thank you. Thank you. Members stand to be recognized.
Madam Chairman, P.J. Kavanaugh, Auburn Township C. If the county party really wants to go this far into these national and constitutional issues, my question would be, how does this amendment and the stance itself apply to capital punishment or the taking of life in a military conflict?
Good question. Something to consider. I can tell you that, when we began this process of the platform, if you go back to our purpose and you stay focused on the purpose, not just one purpose, there were many purposes, but the purpose of the platform was to define who we are as a county party, to reach out to other people to join our party, to support the candidates that we have, and to have a voice to talk about what we stand for. A lot of it did come from the Republican National Committee's platform. Those platforms are changed pretty much every 4 years when we have a candidate. They'll change next year. And so we wanted to add our local flavor to it. We may want to change this at some point once the RNC changes their platform. This isn't a document in stone, but it's a springboard from where we can begin. So I do want to remind you that we've got a big task here. This isn't about me. This isn't about the committee. This is about all of us as a body. We all have one vote, and I don't know that we necessarily know what each Republican in our precinct thinks of the various issues, and so we have to make our best choices based on what we think. This isn't to be used for policy or legislation. We elect people to do that. And this isn't going to change any of that. So just keep that in mind. This is a hard thing, folks. I mean, these aren't easy things to decide. So, Chairman recognizes Member Steinfurth.
Madam Chairman, Claudia Steinfurth. I move that we close the discussion and vote.
I second it. Second.
There's a motion on the floor to close discussion. We'll need a separate motion for voting, however.
Madam Chairman, I call the question. That's legal. On the
All right. Yeah, well, there hasn't been a motion yet to vote, and we need to state it exactly as it's been changed. Okay.
Madam Chairman, I move to call the question on the amendment as it was modified and stated by Matt Lynch. Call that question.
Do I have a motion? I have a second.
On the motion.
You are the I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
So the motion is to accept the platform as presented with the amendment. I'm going to ask for a show of hands if that is...
We got to get a second.
I thought we had a second.
I second.
Okay.
Sorry, is that true?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to ask for a show of hands on the motion for the amendment of the The platform is amended. Secretary, did you take a count? We need a 50%.
The people that are here.
Nancy, can you count?
Yeah, sorry.
Start from the back. Could you stand? That would probably make it easier.
Let's really short cut.
Oh, right. Well, let's just count. Here, just count them off.
I count 35. Somebody in attendance? 35, you may be seated. Those opposed, if you would like to raise your hand or stand. I got 35 for, 13 against. Motion passes. Platform is passed. Thank you. No.
The amendment passed.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought we were actually making the motion to accept the platform as amended. That's what Blake said.
Just the amendment of application.
I guess I'm confused. All right. Yeah, okay, so I guess we're still discussing the platform. Yeah, sorry.
Is there any other issues?
Are there any other motions or discussion needed on the platform? You're recognized.
Kendall Smith, I would like to ask a question and propose an amendment. Right above the one we just discussed, there is a section called Liberty and Privacy. And the last sentence says, we believe that overhead surveillance of either us or our property is also in direct violation to our Constitution. I find myself in agreement with that statement, but am puzzled as to why it is limited to overhead surveillance. I think there is widespread surveillance throughout many of our cities. I am troubled by that, and I'm puzzled why our platform limits the concern to overhead surveillance. So the amendment I would propose would be to strike the word overhead so that the sentence would read, we believe that surveillance of either us or our property is also in direct violation to our Constitution. Second.
So we have a motion to amend the section where it's liberty and privacy on page 3 to eliminate the word overhead. We believe that overhead surveillance of either us or our property is also in direct violation to our Constitution. We're going to take a hand vote again. So you would have to make a separate motion for that, and we have a motion on the floor. Unless you would like to amend your motion.
I'd be happy to amend the motion. I think that's so.
Okay, so could you please state it again, please?
I'm sorry. I would replace the word overhead in the last sentence of section liberty and privacy with the word any. So the sentence now reads, we believe that any surveillance of either us or our property is also in direct violation of our Constitution.
All right, so wait a minute, we have, yes, Mr. Eklund, do you have something to say about that before we take a vote?
Well, I thank you, Madam Chair, and members. We say in the previous sentence, it's proposed that we say, well, two sentences. We believe that unreasonable searches and seizures are contrary to the intent of our Constitution. Hard to argue with that. We say, we believe that probable cause must be established prior to warrants being issued and searches and seizures being conducted. Hard to argue with that. But to say that we believe that any surveillance of us is in direct violation of our Constitution sort of says, even if there's probable cause, and even if it's a reasonable search or seizure, under the Constitution or judicial application of the constitutional principles. So I would suggest that an amendment that would state that we believe that any surveillance of us is in direct violation of our Constitution is internally inconsistent and probably contrary, in fact, to the constitutional principles under which this was intended to operate. So if I ran the circus, I guess I might say that we believe that any surveillance of either us or our property, contrary to the foregoing principles, is in direct violation of our Constitution. Or words to that effect.
Could you replace the word any with unwarranted? I don't know what suffice.
You could, but I don't know what it means, and it might mean different things to different people. If it's tied to the concepts embodied in the Constitution, at least it has some meat on the bones, if you will, would be my suggestion. But it's not my motion. But I would oppose the motion on those grounds. Thank you, ma'am.
Any further discussion? Would you like to change your proposed
I'm bowing to the wisdom of the group, and I think the concern is a valid one. That any is a little too sweeping and would put us on record as being opposed to warranted or court-supervised, court-sanctioned surveillance, and I think we do want to allow that. So I would reverse my second modification, my first modification, and adding the word any, and maybe just take that out or add the phrase that Mr. Eklund suggested.
What was the phrase? We need to word the motion. Would you like me to read it? We believe that surveillance of either us or our property is also in direct violation to our Constitution, contrary to the foregoing principles. Is that incorrect? We need the word any in.
If I may, Madam Chair, I would suggest this. We believe that any surveillance of either us or our property, contrary to the foregoing principles, is also in direct violation of our Constitution.
Thank you. So to clarify, it will read, we believe that any surveillance of either us or our property, comma, contrary to the foregoing principles, comma, is also in direct violation to our Constitution. Do I have a second? Second. We have a second. Okay. Thank you. Those in favor of the...
Madam Chair,
yes.
One comment. Mr. Eklund, what if we just basically eliminated that sentence altogether, since you seem to, it's already covered in the prior sentences? No. Seems like you're the attorney.
Well, we have a few of those. Does it change the meaning of the intent of if we eliminate the sentence altogether?
I don't believe it does. It is in a certain sense redundant and would not suffer, in my view, from removing the last sentence of that section.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, much of what we put in the platform, we try to not be redundant or drill down to the point where we contradict ourselves, which is not the intent. I see a member in the back who would like to speak. Please state your name.
Madam Chairman, Sue Bagley from Bainbridge. I don't know if you realize we're already being surveyed overhead by planes for tax purposes now, legally.
Oh, there's a thing called Google, too.
So I don't know what pertinence this has to anything, because they're already doing it.
Well, and again, are we intending for this to be a legislative policy type of document? No, we have to weigh those differences.
I would just comment that I do feel that having that sentence adds to the strength of this
right. Is there any
privacy statement, and I would suggest a statement.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Member Kavanaugh?
Madam Chairman, to the point you just made there, if we're going to use this to, for lack of a better word, screen candidates, and we are surveilling for tax auditor purposes, does that eliminate our current auditor from
No.
If you're into
Well, I would, for clarification, I would like a definition of the word surveillance. What does that mean? Would anyone like to speak to that? Because we could include social media, we could include many things.
A police officer driving by your property looking up.
Is surveillance. I mean, are we getting into the weeds here, folks?
Yeah, I think I should take that.
I mean, I'm concerned. Member Tarsi?
Madam Chairman, Elsie Tarsi. I would just like to bring up a point that I have found out that under the assessments that were, this is a little bit off, but it has to do with surveillance. Under the park assessments that were given, those are the assessments that were given to the school children in Ohio this month. In New Jersey, I think it was New Jersey, Park, the corporation was surveilling the social media of the students who took the test. I think, and this is the company that Ohio has a contract with to test our kids. I mean, this is the kind of surveillance I think that we're talking about. That kind of, I think, and I don't know how you put it in a statement, but I think we're getting to that point right now where, you know, everything we do is being looked at, and our children are being looked at, and they don't even know it, and our parents don't know it, and I think it's wrong.
All right, just a moment, Member Leah. I would like to ask, where is Ms. Mansick here? Where did this original statement come from? And if you recall, we eliminated the word overhead surveillance, so that's what this initially began as. So I would consider that a drone or a plane or something like that. So in the actual data, how did this come to be?
I thought Senator Edmonds had the foregoing covered pretty much.
Right, but I mean, were you the only one who submitted this statement? Or did this come from the body of this group? That's what I'm asking.
I didn't call any of them.
Somebody wrote it in their survey. That was your section, but did it come from a body, or was it just you, Rich? Okay. All right. Member Leah.
Frankly, in Winston Township, I agree with Jim McConnell and our senator here that said we ought to just drop that last sentence. I think we're going to be better off by doing so. I think anytime you say the word surveillance, it implies so many different things. I can't possibly do my job as your auditor, as an example, without some type of surveillance. Just walking by your property, you could accuse me of surveillance. And oh, by the way, this is the Republican Party platform. It's not the Republican Party police platform.
It wasn't just Rich. All right, so could you hold on just a minute? I'm deferring to the committee chair because I want to clarify this as to how it got originally into the platform. The original Monkey survey question was surveillance by drone.
We can't hear you.
Surveillance by drone, the NSA collection of our personal emails and phone calls do not infringe upon our right to privacy. 80% strongly disagreed or disagreed with that statement.
Say that one more time.
Well, we sometimes did counter statements by we did that line, we did counter statements. Okay.
So 80% disagreed with that statement. So that was kind of if you want to turn it the other way around, if you said the opposite of that, 80% would have agreed that we feel that these types of surveillance is an infringement upon our rights. Is that correct, Donna? Yes, thank you. I saw Chairman recognizes Member Claypool.
I don't know how. I'm enjoying this conversation, by the way. I think this is a very healthy thing, and I'm really appreciating this conversation. I would say I just looked up the definition of the word surveillance, and it's close observation over a period of time. If I notice Frank Auditor Galea in front of my house more than one or two times, I'm going to be very concerned. That's probably inappropriate, and I'm probably going to call him on it. And so, from a surveillance standpoint, it is an activity in which somebody is being monitored on an extended period of time, and I would oppose that, and I think that this language might be tweaked in some way to say that. Doing a mapping of our properties is necessary for the function of the auditor's office and so on and so forth. So I don't have any thought in terms of, I'm listening to this conversation and enjoying it. Other than that, I just want to kind of draw a definition or a distinction between what Frank does and what a police officer or overhead surveillance might do, which is monitoring us and maybe inappropriately. And so I would be comfortable removing the sentence or not, personally. So thank you.
Yeah, I guess my concerns are that the police do surveillance. That definition is problematic. Member Thompson.
Sean Thompson. I am Martin Precinct B. I'm also on the committee, and I would like to just say that this exact conversation we're having here, this group had numerous times over the last 5 months as we weighed the survey, and we were kicking these ideas around, and we tried very hard to make sure that we had a platform that was general enough that anybody could actually stand up as a candidate and say that I believe these things. You can certainly go, to a level of detail beyond these statements and say that you believe something more specific. That is certainly the idea of the candidate. But we really did try to keep these in general in nature, and I think I would agree that maybe we should just remove the last sentences. I'm not sure that it truly adds, but clearly any candidate could state that themselves in the case that they were running for office.
Thank you. Okay, we're trying to limit conversation or speech. The person who made the motion has a chance to speak twice, so if you would like to speak again, can you rise?
I would speak in favor of keeping the sentence in. I think the distinction that Skip Claypool came up with as an ongoing or monitoring function, that's the definition of surveillance. Properly distinguishes, an occasional photography that's used for auditor purposes. I think I'm very comfortable with that distinction, and I feel that it's important to have this sentence in the platform. Thank you.
Member Radke.
I think in deciding whether you want to keep this or not keep it, going back to the fundamental principle of this platform, trying to define for people that may not necessarily be part of this party right now, would this be helpful in clarifying for people that would decide to choose to join the party, or would it not be helpful?
Thank you. Member Hederstrom.
Paul Hederstrom again. My caution or my concern about something like this appears to be the topic of the moment, overhead surveillance. And removing the statement out of there, I don't think withdraws from the previous part of the paragraph, that in fact probable cause and all the rest of that stuff. And I'm going back from my education background, and when you talk about the child predators and everything around there, I don't have a problem at all with them being overhead surveillance.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Member Blake.
We have a motion and we have a second.
We do.
And unless the person who made the motion rescinds the motion, which he just said he's in favor of keeping it the way it is, or with his motion, in order to move on, we have to have a vote. We have to call
are you making a motion to
I call the question once again. I don't want to be redundant, but I call the question.
All right. So those in favor of...
I need a second.
Thank you. So the motion is that we add and or amend the language for that last sentence in liberty and privacy to read, we believe that any surveillance of either us or our property, contrary to the foregoing principles, is also in direct violation to our Constitution. Those in favor, please raise your hand. It counts. We have 33 in favor. Those opposed? 13 opposed. Motion passes. The amendment passes. Just want to remind you folks, we have about how many minutes left?
6.
All right. Do I have any further discussion on the platform? Member Claypool?
Madam Chair, I rise to discuss the immigration paragraph.
Could you give us a page number, please?
Yes, page 6.
Page 6 at the bottom, paragraph, immigration.
Yes. I believe that paragraph, and again, I'd like to commend the work done on this platform. I think it's a good start. There's certainly a lot of opportunity in the future, let's say, to improve it. But I commend the committees for the work that they've done. And for this process, by the way, because this is a healthy process. In regard to this particular paragraph, I don't think we draw a strong enough distinction on illegal versus legal immigration. And that could present a problem for us. We certainly have issues with immigration and doing the international travel and the opportunity that I saw around the world. I certainly appreciate the value of folks who legally immigrate to this country and the value that they provide to this country. But those folks that break the law in order to get here, I have a strong belief, and I think some others do, that they should probably pay a penalty for that and go through a legal process. So I would suggest the following changes to this particular paragraph, and that is we believe that legal immigration has a significant positive impact on our economy. We understand that a large yada, yada, yada. I think somewhere in here, someplace, we should probably state that we believe that we should have stronger border enforcement and with the benefits that would apply there. So that's my comments.
Would you like to make a motion, Mr. Claypool?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion.
Statement to either add, amend, edit.
I'd like to make a motion to add, or at least the legal immigration phrase, and I would take suggestions for other changes relative to the strong border enforcement. So.
All right, we need a motion then for the border enforcement. That's, do you want to have someone else speak to that? As far as language? So we need a second on adding that legal information, legal immigration for the first sentence to amend the paragraph. Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? Those in favor, please raise your hand. I count 36. Those opposed? Motion passes. Ms. Stang?
Madam Chair, Dorothy Stang from Chardon Township. May I ask the gentleman's name with the red baseball hat on, please?
I'm John Karlovic of the Geauga County Maple Leaf.
And you are a Central Committeeman?
No,
actually,
I'm media. He just was the press. I'm
a
Cuyahoga County Republican.
That's fine. It's just that you're sitting in our section, and so that's...
And he's taking pictures and recording.
Correct.
It is a public meeting. I would ask that you sit in the back, please. I didn't realize you were sitting here. Someone brought it to my attention, but I don't believe he's been voting.
Problem with you sitting up here.
I mean, as long as he's not voting, but this was supposed to be a section for members. All right, can we please move on? We have a very short window of time here. We have 3 minutes left. No, I'm looking for a motion. If someone wants to address the border enforcement, we need to add language to that because that was not done. Remember, Lynch?
In response to Skip's suggestion, I just had some quick language here that would read, we believe the U.S. government should aggressively defend our borders against illegal immigration.
Would you add the
I
word
move
state,
that
U.S. and state?
Well, federal issue, yeah.
All right.
So would you please say that again?
So I move we just add the sentence, we believe the U.S. government should aggressively defend our borders against illegal immigration.
I second that motion.
Okay, I'm getting that language from you. So I need a second on his motion. All right, let's take a vote. 4 in favor of the amendment. I think we're good votes. Motion passes. All right, do we have any further discussion of the platform?
Chairman, I think we adopt closed discussion because it is our time, and that we adopt the platform.
Do I have a second? Those in favor of adopting the Geauga County Republican platform as amended, please stand. Those in opposition, please sit down. Those in opposition, please stand. The motion passes. We have passed the platform. All right. I do want to thank all the committee members for all their hard work and time. And I can tell you, this is a great place to start. I want to thank all of you for all dealing with us. And I think it's going to be a great thing for our party. Thank you. All right. We are on item number 8. New business. The chair recognizes member Petrozello.
Madam Chair, Mike Petrozello. We talk about outreach, and that word has been mentioned several times today. And I would like to introduce a motion that all duly elected executive committee precinct persons shall have all contact issues available on Geauga County website to include phone number, address, and email.
No. Mike, can I borrow your language just a second? I apologize.
And then I can have a roll call vote.
Okay, so Mr. Petrozello has made a motion that all duly elected executive and central committee members have all contact information, personal contact information available on our county website to include phone numbers. I assume you mean cell phone numbers or any phone numbers. Address and emails.
Party website.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the Geauga County Republican website. Yes. It says Geauga County website, so I'm sorry. All right, so the essential what this means is that he is asking for our party to authorize our body to put all our personal contact information, including your email, cell phone, whatever devices you use, on our website. However, let me say something. I do believe that at the Board of Elections, if you have filed as a central committee person, the Board of Elections has your address and name, and Jane can speak to that. Is that true, Jane?
Yes.
And does the Board of Elections give out phone numbers?
Only if it's listed, we will give out phone numbers if requested, but it's not part of the public record unless they put it down.
Okay, so did everyone hear that? So it's not part of the public record. It's only if that person has elected to give their phone number when they file their petitions at the Board of Elections. Otherwise, that information is not available through the public.
And only on candidates list, we generally only put the name and the address, but we do get PSRs, public service requests for phone numbers, and if somebody does put down a phone number, we will furnish it.
It is not required, but if it is,
and that's only for candidates.
It's only for candidates. Okay, very good. All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
But Madam Chair, can I get a clarification?
Just a minute. So the motion is, does everyone understand what the motion is? It's been first and seconded. Discussion. Member Claypool?
Yeah, I just had a quick question for clarification. So you had said for candidates, well, Central Committee members are candidates. So if the public makes a request for phone number information for Central Committee members, then you will give that information.
Through the board.
Through the board.
Through the board.
Only if they've given it to them.
If they've
If
given
they have given it.
If you have the number. Right.
They aren't required to do that.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, Charlie Butters. I think this merits further discussion because there's a lot more to this than just putting that up. Because there's good ways to do this. You could put up a Geauga County map with each individual precinct up there. You can click on that and find your precinct map. There's a lot of ways to do this. And I think just throwing this out right now, we're going to have to go back and fix it up later. So I think perhaps Mike could move to table this motion for the next meeting where we have more of a fleshed out proposal there. Because I think if somebody can go on the Geauga County, Republican County website and say, oh, I live here, they just moved out here from Strongsville, and they click on it just to find who they should contact locally. I think there's more that we could provide than just a list of...
Thank you, Member Butters.
Yeah, thank you.
I would ask Mr. Petrozzullo to just give us an idea of what the purpose of this is about. Can you talk to that a little bit? So what are you thinking?
We can talk about outreach, but in the past, we did have phone numbers and names on the Republican site. This information was available by the precinct, and now it has been removed. And I was just making the motion to get that information back down, because there are people that live in your areas. How do they reach it?
Well, I think
get the county precinct site, but we should have the map.
to Mr. Butters, and I think that we could do that through the website without necessarily publishing. We can have a way of getting information. Right now, people can contact me, and I basically, push things out to people that need them. But it could be done in such a way that it respects people's privacy, but yet allows the public to contact that individual person. And you're speaking specifically to the Central Committee members, correct? Not executive.
The elected.
Yeah, the Central Committee people.
Yeah, well, anybody that's on the Republican Central and Executive Committee are the same.
That is not correct, sir.
That is correct.
No,
Everybody's on
the Executive Committee is not elected by the public.
Everybody in the Central Committee is an Executive Committee member.
That is true. Okay, so you're talking about Central Committee. Their records are at the Board of Elections. They have filed to run. Okay. Member Brady, did you have a question?
I spent probably 4 hours taking all my information off the internet so no one can get hold of it. I don't think there's any purpose for anyone to know where I live. I mean, phone number and email maybe, but it seems going with the address is just one step a little too far. And speaking of surveillance and stuff, that's kind of the same thing.
Now, Ms. Brady is a member of Executive. If she was a member of Central, that information is available through the Board of Elections as far as address. Okay, I just want to make that clear.
I would comment that I spend much of my professional day dealing with downsides to public information and contact information. And if our website, for example, was able to limit access to the page to IP addresses that are in the United States, for example, that would be reasonable. I don't know if this hosting service can do that. I'm dealing with a client in a small city in Connecticut that recently put a whole lot of published contact information and was barraged by spammers and people sending phishing messages to them coming from parts of Germany and parts of Africa. I would not want to expose everybody to that. So, IP website hosting services are starting to put in protection so they can limit access to, say, North America or the United States. But unless our website is prepared to do that, I would be opposed for a second.
I can tell you that prior chair had many problems with our website getting crashed and corrupted and what have you. It's been an ongoing problem, and it has happened since I've been chairman as well. So I understand what you're saying. Anyone like to comment? Member Swan?
Karen Swan. When I was on the Ohio Developmental Disabilities Council, and this is at least 10 years ago, they had it set up so that if someone wanted to contact us, you clicked for an email, that was, I believe, through a Yahoo account that then came to us, but it was not our private email account.
Yes. And we could do something similar.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I might say that this works both ways. We know that, it's part of our responsibility as being a central committee person to do outreach in our precinct. So that would mean that we would need to contact our constituents with it. So I would like to see that being done more. It doesn't happen often, but it should be happening more than not. Any further discussion on this topic? And I'm going to, Member Stang.
Yeah, Madam Chair, could we just table this until the next meeting? Because I think it does require some more research.
Member Petrozilla, would you like to rescind your motion and change it?
I will get the letters number and have it down right up the process.
Okay, so the motion's been rescinded, and we will discuss this at a future meeting.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Wait a minute.
I have.
We have a couple pieces of business. I just want to make sure that for those people who would like to help on the Lincoln Day dinner, some of us are going to be staying after this meeting. So if you would like to help on that, I would love for you to stay, and we're going to just talk about that for maybe 15 minutes. Any other business to come before this body? Member Tarzi.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Everybody, there are down there, if you didn't get it, there's these flyers about Fiddle for Freedom. It's a concert. It's going to be May 3rd at the Word of Grace Church. And the purpose of it is a fundraiser so that the Geauga County Tea Party can put on a Liberty Camp for children in grades 1 through 6. Not limited to Geauga County children, but we're limited to like 35 children. And the cost is going to be $30, and it's going to be at the end of, the Liberty Camp is the end of July, and it's at, I can't remember
and
the
the
name.
purpose is, Elsie, to teach constitutional values.
Okay, it's the purpose of which is to teach the children how our country was started, the values of our country, and about our Constitution. And it's done in a very hands-on way, and the people dress up like the pilgrims. They get to throw tea into the water like the Tea Party did. It should be a fun event and get them thinking about our country and our freedoms. So you can buy the tickets online, and it's May 3rd. It's a Sunday evening from 6 to 9, and the Stockdale Family Band is nationally recognized and known, and the other band is going to be the Family Dog Band, which is a local band. So I hope you all can come.
All right, thank you, Member Tarzi. All right, I do want to encourage all of you to come to our Lincoln Day dinner. It's not only a great chance for you to get to meet other Republicans in the county, because it will be open to the public. I expect a lot of our neighboring counties will be there as well. And our special guest is Co-Chairman Sherry Day. If you have never met her or heard her, she is an amazing woman and a great spokesperson for our party. I think you will be incredibly impressed with her. I know I have been. And again, thank you for all your support. Of course, we're always willing to accept contributions. You can see Kevin over here. If you brought your checkbook, we will soon have a portal on our website so you can make contributions that way. Member Radke.
One last item when you're talking about the baskets. These fine ladies next to me that are also in Chester Township, we said, hey, let's reach out to all of our precinct members in Chester Township, come up with a basket. So I would ask and or challenge the rest of the townships to possibly consider doing the same.
Very good. So we have a challenge on the floor. Like that, a little competition. Great. Thank you so much. I want to thank again all of you for coming out here today. It speaks to your commitment to the party, and I would ask for a motion for adjournment. All in favor? Adjourned. Get a lot of comments.